Hello guys and welcome back to Big Brother, and today we have got a crazy nomination ceremony to talk about because we have finally got them nominating in pairs, which means strategic voting and some very interesting admissions and confessions, along with a whole host of arguments straight from the Big Brother house. We've got 2 days of content to catch up on, so without much further ado, let's get straight into it, shall we? So we're going to start with the head of household competition, and very interestingly, this one was once again aimed at people deciding who they wanted to not be the head of household. I found that very interesting. I thought it was a very interesting decision to make, and it involved the housemates coming one by one to smash somebody's picture in the task room and take them out of the running for head of household. So Khaled was obviously up first, and he chose to take out Lily. After Khaled went in, Shegan went in and nominated Izaz. And then Shegan chose Martha to go next, and Martha chose BP, which is baked potato. Then Emma was next, and she chose Khaled to take out. Thomas then chose Sarah. Izaz chose Nathan. Ali chose Marcello. Hannah chose Martha. Lily chose Emma. And Baked Potato chose Shegan. Which means that we then had Dean choosing Hannah. And then Nathan was the last person up, and he chose to take out Thomas, leaving just 2 people left. Have you worked out who it is? Well, it's Ali and Dean. Ali and Dean are our new heads of household. That's right, there are 2 this week because it is obviously double trouble. They're working in pairs. And the people who didn't get to go, Marcello and Sarah, I think Marcello was pretty pissed and angry that he didn't get to go and smash someone's picture, because I think we all know who he would have smashed, and that person was Ali. So I'm kind of glad that he didn't get in, because this man's the worst, but I'll explain about that in a second. But anyway, I like the fact that Dean and Ali are our new heads of household. I think they're going to do a great job. I think they're very nice. They're very good. They're very fair. And that is most important at the end of the day. So, whilst the whole smashing was going on, Ali and Marcello got into a little bit of a heated argument around the table, which then turned into a situation later on, which I'm going to talk about now. I just feel like the whole situation was, firstly, inappropriate. It's one of those things that, like, I think I understood where Ali was coming from, because she was like, I'm not telling you to not have those conversations. I'm telling you don't have those conversations when we're forced to sit in a room with each other and there's no escape in that kind of conversation. And obviously she called him out for talking about his, and I'm not going to get this word correct, but masturbatory. Is that correct? I don't know. His habits, essentially. And it was just a bit disgusting. It was one of those conversations that I'm like, I just don't need to hear it. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to hear about the sex pest's sexual preferences and his how many times a week he does it, how long he's gone without it. Do you know what I mean? It's not that interesting to me, and I think it is just a little bit gross. And then he comes out with something like, I'm a human ejaculator, and it just made me want to vomit in my mouth a little bit. It just made me uncomfortable, because this is now what, like the 3rd or 4th time that he's been significantly inappropriate around women who are expressing the fact that they are uncomfortable with his behavior. Is that not like sending warning signals to you? Do you know what I mean? Are you not self-aware at all? And then later on, he's like, don't come on a TV show if you feel like it's going to affect your job on the outside. You work with children. You work as a youth worker. How are you not worried that you talking about all this horrible stuff and acting like a bit of a perv on TV is not going to affect your job on the outside? Really? Because I think you might have to have a career change, mate. You might have to start sending that application into Mackey's. So obviously, he comes up to her later on and has a go at her for expressing how she felt. And I just felt like that was the wrong way to go about it. Why are you coming up to Ali and saying, yo, the way you made me feel was not okay earlier? Well, the way you made me feel earlier was not okay, so what are you going to do about that? I'm sorry, but like, it's a two-way street at the end of the day. The only reason why I kicked off at you is because you were in the wrong in the first place. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous and stupid, and he's just a bit of a grotty person. And then he's like, oh, what do you mean talking about sex in graphic detail? You were talking about how often you jack off. That's not okay. I don't want to hear about that. You can talk about it when you're in like a couple of people and people want to be talking about it, fair enough. But when you're in like a group setting, is that the most important thing to be talking about when you know it's going to get shown on TV? No, it's just gross. And then if he had to say, I got so angry. He was saying something along the lines of like, oh, it was a sensible adult conversation. It wasn't sensible. It really wasn't. It's the kind of conversation you have with your mates and you're like, haha, kiki, haha, funny. Like, that's it. You don't have it with random people that you're not even that close to. I would not even think about doing that kind of thing. No, that's just gross. I don't need to be talking about that kind of stuff. So, deciding on the pairs for the week fell to Ali and Dean. And I thought they actually did it in a very fair way. They decided to split up friendship so that it made it harder for people to nominate. And therefore, they'd have to have genuine reasons rather than just like, I'm not friends with these people. Meh, 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 meh. I thought that was a very, very interesting choice. The pairs that they picked were Hannah and Lily. Obviously, to hopefully offset the fact that Lily is unpopular in the house. Izaz and Nathan, again, very interesting because they currently don't like each other. Then we had Marcello and Baked Potato, but then they ended up switching out Baked Potato for Khaled in order to sort of put the villains together, quote unquote. And then Martha and Shegan were put together, Sarah and Baked Potato, and Thomas and Emma. I thought these pairs were good. Marcello and Khaled, obviously I want them to get nominated. I want them out of the house. I'm sick and tired of them and their gaslighty behaviour. It's not okay. I'm bored. It's done. We're going to talk about Khaled later, but we've already spoken about Marcello and his just disgusting habits of talking just utter bollocks and people feeling uncomfortable around him. It's just not okay. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's not. It is not okay. And you can't use the conversation of like, oh, if you come on a show, you shouldn't come on a show if you have a job that you could lose on the outside. You quite literally have a job on the outside. You could literally be unemployable now because you've talked all this on TV. Do you know what I mean? Like, actually, come on. You're just a bit of a weirdo, mate. So, it's nominations time, and we're going to start off with Ali and Dean's nomination. Now, they decided to go for Marcello and Khaled, which, obviously, no surprise. But, obviously, I think Dean is starting to realise that Khaled is very calculated with his words, with his movements, with the way he behaves. I don't doubt that. This man claims he's never seen Big Brother before, yet he won an award that said most likely to be on a reality show. It's giving, I've come on here to play a game. And, like, I'm more than happy for you to play a game, but, like, be honest about you playing a game. Do you know what I mean? If I went on the show, I'd be playing a game, but I'd be in the diary room going, I'm playing a game. I'm playing a game to win. Obviously, I want to win that 100k. If you guys don't think I should, that's fine. But, like, I want to play a game. Because this is a social experiment, let's spice it up a little bit. Whereas he's just, like, denying it, even though there are certain actions that he's doing that are just making me feel like he is not genuine at all. But anyway, and obviously Marcello's just awful, so I thought that was a very, very fair nomination from them, I can't lie. Up next, we have Marcello and Khaled nominating, and they nominated Nathan and Izaz. I don't understand the Izaz hate, I really don't. I feel like it's actually becoming borderline bullying, the way that they all target him and hate on him. It's really nasty, and it all stems from, I think, Khaled being upset that Izaz didn't want to fist bump him or dab him up, which, like, fair enough, but, like, in that moment you had just put him through 12 hours of hell and then made him do another task. So actually, I wouldn't be best pleased with you either, and if that means that you're going to spend the next, like, 2 weeks bitching about me, like, oh god, come on. Anyway, obviously they didn't want to put up Nathan, and Izaz apparently snaked Khaled, but, like, I don't understand how he snaked Khaled. Is this still to do with, like, the not dabbing him up? Because, like, I'm not being funny. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. It's not that deep. He was just pissed off in the moment. Have a conversation with him and sort it out. Like, obviously his opinion's changed on you, but that's because you've been playing a game with him, and fair enough. Next up was Sarah and Baked Potato. They chose Lily and Hannah. And it was purely because we like Hannah, but we think Lily's a bit of a game player. which is very interesting. Do I think Lily's playing a game? Potentially. I don't think that she is fake necessarily, but I think she is playing a game in the sense of like, I think she knows that she is a very entertaining person and that her pissing off other people in the house is going to garner some kind of support. But I do just feel like this is who she is. I don't think she's nasty. I don't think she's vindictive. I don't think she's fake. I just think that there are elements of her where I think she sits there and she thinks, oh, I can piss this person off now and that's going to make funny TV. Do you know what I mean? I think that she's got that kind of brain. So it's just her being her. But like, yeah, I would not vibe with it in the house. I vibe with it because I'm watching it on TV and it's filtered. But like, I could not live with her at all. So next up we have Shegan and Martha. They voted Izaz and Nathan as well. Apparently Izaz has been isolating himself, but it really does just feel like the boys have isolated him. And also apparently he puts his foot in things. It just feels mean-spirited. I don't think they have any genuine reason to vote for Izaz. And it is sad at the end of the day that he's getting a nomination because he doesn't deserve it, I don't think. Next up, we have Izaz and Nathan, and they decided to nominate Hannah and Lily. Lily because she's loud, and they were just kind of like, it kind of sucks for Hannah that she's been paired with Lily because we don't want to see Hannah up on the block, but like, it is what it is. We have to nominate someone, and Lily's the person we want to nominate. And you know what? Fair enough. I would probably want to nominate Lily. I would probably want to nominate her out of the house because I couldn't put up with her 24/7. I think I would be like friends with her, but I think I would also tell her, can you shut the fuck up, please? Can we just have a moment of silence, please? I would not be best liked in the house, I don't think. I think I would be the kind of person that like knows how Big Brother works, so knows that it's just a game. So like when you're having to do the whole save and replace thing, I'm not going to cry about it because like, it is what it is. I've had to make a choice. I've made the choice. Deal with it. Hannah and Lily were up next, and they took a very interesting route to nominations. They decided to try and predict what other people were going to put in order to save themselves from the block. I actually thought this was a very, very fascinating way of choosing who to vote. They ended up landing on Nathan and Izaz because they felt that if they voted for them, they would have more votes than them, and therefore they would escape nomination, which was an interesting ploy. Their nomination actually helped because they were going to go for Marcello and Khaled, which would have put it at like a 2-2-3 tie, which means all three pairs would have been up. But honestly, I think it's a very, very interesting situation to be in. I think that they handled it very well, and I liked seeing the strategy come out as well. But it is where it is. Let's move on. So the final pair was Thomas and Emma, and they decided to vote for Hannah and Lily, and they basically just bitched about Lily for a little bit, saying that she's annoying because of the screaming. It gets on their tits. They're horrible people for nominating Hannah, but like, it is what it is. And honestly, fair enough. Lily is jarring at times. I love her, don't get me wrong, but like, I could not live with her. I could not. It would stress me out to no end. I think I'd go grey by the time I left the house, honestly. So, with nominations already decided, and the pairs up for nominations were Hannah and Lily and Izaz and Nathan, the choice to replace and save came down to, do they save and replace or do they make a killer nomination? Do they put 6 people up or do they keep it at 4? I think they made the right choice keeping it at 4 and saving Hannah and Lily and putting up Marcello and Khaled. It did wind me up that, what's his face? Dean decided to say that it was just because they haven't been up for nomination yet. I thought that was a poor excuse. I think they should have just doubled down on the fact that those two have caused some kind of controversy in the house. They're not popular people, and therefore they wanted to put them up for nomination because at the end of the day, they already voted for them in the diary room, so they were obviously going to put them up anyway if they didn't get like the popular vote. So it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we shouldn't be sugarcoating it because I think they'd actually respect you more if you didn't sugarcoat it, because it does just come across as a little bit of a BS reason. And that's from Dean. I don't think Ali like gave the reason why, but like she did say that it's not because of the disagreements that they had. But we're going to get into another one of the disagreements in a second. Even though I just thought like this whole scenario was inevitable. It was always going to be Khaled and Marcello up for nomination as soon as they chose the pairs. They were going to do it anyway, whether they got the votes from the housemates or not. So the nominations were set, and Khaled is obviously talking to people and being like, I'm going to talk to Ali, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow. I'm going to let her calm down and then we'll have a conversation. And what seemed like less than 2 minutes later, he's like walked up to Ali and struck up a conversation, being like, oh, no hard feelings, etc., etc. But like, do you see how that sucked? Do you see how that sucked? And you made me feel bad. And Ali's like, hang on a minute, why are you turning this into a point scoring exercise? Why are you making it out like, oh, see, I told you, I told you, I told you. That's just a very negative way to start this kind of conversation. Like, you didn't have to do that. And I actually do agree. Once again, I feel like he's come into this conversation trying to make her feel bad for it because he wants to be seen as the good guy in the situation. He doesn't like how he was potentially conceived last week. So now that Ali's in the same position, he's trying to make her feel bad and make her look like the villain as well. And it is just coming across as a little bit toxic and narcissistic. And I just don't appreciate it. She walked off because she was like, you're trying to make me look bad and I'm not appreciating this, so I'm just going to walk away. Which, absolutely fair and valid, he was. You don't bring up that kind of thing in a conversation where you want to have a chat about what has just happened when you've already buried that hatchet 3 times now. You had the conversation up in the mezzanine. You had the conversation after the whole, what's it called? The corridor incident. And then you had another conversation later on where you put it to rest. So can we just leave it alone? But no, he has to go back and he starts bitching to people. To Dean, to Marcello, to whoever will listen. And then, like, Ali walks in and he's like, right, can we talk now? And she's like, no, we're done. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm done with it. And honestly, I respect that. Know your bounds, know your limits, and know when there's no point in having another conversation about this because we're clearly not going to agree on this. We're clearly not. You just have to kind of put a stop to it. The killer line of this whole thing was, the cameras are there, Khaled. Look at them. That's who you're performing to. I was like, raw. And like, you could make the argument that Ali's also playing up to the cameras, but like, I just don't think she is. I don't think she is. And there's so much hatred online towards her, but seemingly none towards Khaled when he's proved himself to be fake numerous times. How are you telling me that last week he was in a blazing row with Ali multiple times, and then like less than 2 days later he's saying that her and Lily, who he also dislikes, are his favourite people in the house, and then he's like making up silly fist bumps with Ali and acting all pally. It just is coming across as, oh, I want to be seen as the good guy and I need to make sure that everyone's on my side so that like I don't get nominated and I don't go home. That's what it's feeling like currently. I don't know if it is that calculated, but that's how it's coming across to me. It just does feel very, very calculated. I don't know whether I would say fake necessarily, but I would say calculated. And I think Ali's calculated to an extent. She's just bold enough to say her opinions and express discomfort. And I feel like some of these men are not able to handle the fact that a woman is uncomfortable with actions that they have. That goes for Marcello, that goes for Khaled, it goes for... I don't think anyone else has been that problematic in the house, to be fair. But with those two especially, Ali has expressed discomfort with the way they've acted, the way they've behaved towards her, and other people potentially, and I just feel like it is falling on deaf ears because they're like, no, that's not how it is, that's not how it is, that's not how it is. That doesn't matter. It's how you've made her feel at the end of the day. Oh god, it was really, really annoying. And then Marcello comes out, does damage control. It was kind of pointless. And she said, I thought I heard that he said he'd wait until tomorrow to have this conversation, and yet here we are having the conversation tonight. And I was like, yeah, that's so true. He was saying to everyone, I'm going to have the conversation tomorrow. And then he has the conversation within the same day. So what's going on here? What's actually happening? So jarring. And then Ali actually called out Dean in a conversation to Lily, being like, why is no one attacking him? Because he was also making those opinions. He was also saying them, and they were much stronger than me. I kind of sat back and was like, I mean, I agree with you. I think this as well. But he was the one that was leading the charge. So why is no one questioning him? And why is all the blame falling on me? I totally agree if I'm 100% honest. I totally agree. So, it's time for some funny quotes and moments. And today we have got only two, really, I guess. The first one is Hannah teaching Lily etiquette, which I feel like would have been useful a lot earlier in the season, purely because it might have stopped her from getting nominated. But I'm grateful that Hannah has taken the time to be like, yo, this is how you function as an adult. Because I feel like she's not had that in her life. She hasn't. She probably still lives at home with her parents. She's never lived away, so she's never had to fend for herself. And it's one of those things that, like, she just have to learn at some point. And this is probably a great crash course in that exercise. Next up, we have Baked Potato and Nathan just being the two most awkward people alive. I was going to do a whole section on them, but, like, actually not much happened. They've kissed twice now, even though they said they weren't going to kiss, which I find hilarious. And I do think they're sweet. They are incredibly awkward and uncomfortable together, but, like, is that kind of, like, cute uncomfortability? I do not agree with Twitter being like, let's get Nathan out to save Baked Potato. You're not saving her at all. If they want to be together, they can be together. It really isn't that deep, guys. It really isn't. Like, they're going to be together in the outside world, whether you like it or not. And if they decide not to, then, like, fair enough. It's up to them, not up to you. So why are we making it a big deal? Why are we making it a big song and dance to get Nathan out? We need to be concentrating our votes on Marcello or Izaz. No, not Izaz. Khaled, in order to stop the Facebook mums from evicting Izaz, because apparently they hate him for some reason, and I haven't seen a reason why. I don't know why people hate Izaz so much. So, thank you guys for watching today. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I will be back on Thursday, and we will be talking all of the fallout from nominations, as well as the start of the next shopping task. There's also been some rule breaks, which means that the whole house is currently on porridge, so I can imagine tempers are going to be high. So, without much further ado, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye now.